we'll go and get started. I want to thank everybody for coming to our Tech Talk. Today, we're going to be discussing the E300 and the E200 electronic overloads. There's not a whole lot of difference between them, but there is one distinct difference that we will point out. So next week, just some housekeeping. Next week, we've got an automation fair preview. So next week, it'll be an automation fair is in 2 weeks. So next week will be a preview, and then automation fair will be that following week. Automation fair will be in person or online, so you can participate however you feel safe and have the time to. My name is Todd Absher. I am my primary role with the Reynolds Company is in the industrial control business within the automation specialist group. So anything from push buttons and overload relays, anything for your industrial controls. The E300 and E200 are the latest electronic overload from Rockwell Automation. This is a brief overview of kind of what our portfolio looks like. In the big red box, you see the E300. It's kind of at the very top with this premium. And then we have 3 others that fall in line with some performance and all the way down to basic. Feature comparison, if you look on the far right, see the E300. It's got all the protection features, diagnostic features, with also integration features into a Logix controller, which is the main difference between it and the E200. The E100 has quite a bit of protection features and diagnostic features, but it is not connected to any sort of network. So what is the E300? The E300 is the latest technology for motor protection that will help reduce your motor control investment and keep your plant running. E300 has a native Ethernet or device net communication module, which will allow you to easily commission, control, or maintain your full voltage motor starter using an Addon profile. The Addon profile is available within Studio 5000. E300 is scalable, meaning that users select the specific sensing interface capabilities that they need with all the different modules and expansion options that we have to fit your specific starters.
Hey Todd, hey, sorry, you're kind of faint. I don't know if you could, maybe you're close to the microphone. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Is that better?
Little, but still a little faint.
Sorry about that, guys. I'll just bend down really close to the microphone. Is this any better?
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
Just basically hold it in front of my nose. Where were we? Sorry. Okay, so like I said, E300 is scalable, meaning you can pick your specific sensing, I/O, and interface capabilities that you need for your starter system. E300 provides valuable diagnostic information, which can be used to reduce or minimize any unplanned downtime. Just a little graphic kind of shows kind of the conventional approach, what we used to do in the past. pretty much hardwired your motor and let it run, leaving off all this valuable information off to the side that we can now capture with the Bayes intelligent approach. So the E300 does consist of 3 separate modules: a sensing module, a control module, and a communication module. All 3 are required to make a functioning overload relay, but this does provide unique modularity so that you can fit your starter application. So the E300 is scalable. So like I was saying, you select your specific sensing, I/O, and interface capabilities with all of our various modules and expansion modules. The E300 was also designed to simplify control wiring. The user can select from 3 available control voltages: 120, 240, and 24 volt DC. It has a wide current range of 10 to 1, and just for reference, the old E3 Plus that this replaced had a current range of 5 to 1. So this minimizes the number of sensing modules that the customer needs to purchase. E300 offers an expansion bus in which we can add additional digital I/O, analog I/O, and operator stations to the base E300 system without the need for any additional communication address. The diagnostic station does support multiple languages, and it fits, the operator station does fit into like a standard 22 millimeter knockout. So no need a special knockout to so the first module is the sensing module. It's comprised of 3 different styles: current and ground fault current, voltage, current, and ground fault current. And there are 4 different current ranges. So we've got 0.5 to 30 amp, 6 to 60 amp, 10 to 100 amp, and 20 to 200 amp. All 12 of the sensing modules can mount 100C, E, and some older 100D contactors if you still have them. Bulletin 300, 500 NEMA contactors, and most can be DIN rail or panel mounted. For amperages over 200 amp, we do have current transformer kits available. You see the different ones that get you, different ratios to get you kind of where you need to be. We offer these with UL markings, and then there's some with CL, CE as well. The second module is the control module. It's comprised of 2 different styles, IO and IO and protection. Each style has 3 control voltage selections and different native IO mounts. So you kind of pick your voltage that you need, your requested or necessary input and outputs that you would want to go with. If you do go with the IO and protection, you do lose some input and outputs because they have to take it up for the protection modules. So there was a Series B change. This was kind of a while ago, but the highlighted changes was that the main change was with Series B, they get a SIL 2 certification. So just know that if you do need SIL 2, you can use it, but you have to make sure that you're using a Series B. The third module is a communication module. There are 3 different styles of those. There's the Ethernet IP, there's the device net, and a parameter configuration module. It's going to be this far right one. You notice on the bottom it says E200. So with the E200, you get this parameter configuration module. So USB-B plug-in. You can configure it that way for Ethernet or device net. All communication modules have diagnostic LEDs to aid the user when diagnosing an event. There's a power, which indicates the protection state of the E300 trip or warn, and the module status and the network status. There's also a blue reset test button to do a reset, which is in the same XY panel position as the E3 Plus. So there wasn't any changes needed. There's a cover. You can see it sliding down on the E200. Underneath that cover, you'll see the rotary dials and the dip switches. Because all the communication-based modules can set their network node address using these rotary dials.
Todd, let me jump into the some of the E300 used in intelligent motor control. Hello, all. My name's Mike Masterson. I'm one of the automation specialists with the Reynolds Company, and I get to touch or interface with Todd a lot, especially when it comes to MCCs like you're seeing in this situation, because a lot of times our controllers are the ones receiving the information from the E300s, because we can actually add the E300 into our IO list for one of our controller projects to monitor it and create tags for taking in analyzing everything we're doing within the E300. So it's allowed us to get a lot of information with a lot less wiring, because we're using Ethernet instead of hardwiring all these contacts. So we've been doing this for years. But we do have a new feature that we're about to introduce to you. And Todd, if you can go to the next slide. Hopefully I got the timing right. We now have a Modbus TCP module. It's made by one of our Encompass partners, Anybus. It's the E300 MBTC. This comes into play when maybe Rockwell's not the control system being utilized, but they still want to use one of our MCCs. So if we have an older DCS that might be using Modbus TCP, this gives us the ability to communicate to it. We can serve up or have up to 64 nodes on the system. And unlike our E300s, this is programmed through a web browser. It doesn't have quite as tight integration as we have with our standard E300 comms modules, but we are able to get all that data through the Modbus registers. All right, next one. And in that case, it basically replaces the Rockwell comms module. So it can be done either two ways of ordering it. It can be ordered with your MCCs already configured that way, or you can order it as a standalone product. It is an Anybus product. And so just want to make you aware of it. We'll not have a Rockwell part number, but I want to make sure everyone knows this exists, because this is a situation we run into a lot of times. We have an older system where the protocol they're using is Modbus TCP. This gives us an ability to make direct connections without having to put one of our controllers in there to act as a gateway. So it can simplify a lot of our motor control center business. I think that's it. That's all I want to jump on, Todd.
All right, thanks, Mike. So the main communication with the E300 is the Ethernet or the device net, and it's very easily integrated into your Logix. There's already an add-on profile for RS Logix 5000 and for Studio 5000. The add-on profile creates meaningful tag names for digital inputs, relay outputs, diagnostic information, and configuration data. The add-on profile does support ADC or automatic device configuration, which basically the Logix controller retains the configuration data for the E300 so that it makes it, you can easily swap out different hardware with no need to recondition the device. And the add-on profile is available in the downloads at rockwellautomation.com. So there were, after the original add-on profile was released, they did do an update. And the three main updates that they added was an output duration timer. Feature basically just allows the output relays to stay in a specific state for a specific period of time when network connection is lost. Another thing they added was user selectable input tags. So now you have the option to only read back 8 programmable data links compared to 156 bytes of information. So you kind of make it a little bit more customizable and easy for you to read and interpret. You can also enable or disable automatic device configuration. So if a user would rather make and maintain configuration changes using the diagnostic station or the web server, you can just turn off the automatic device configuration so that it does not interfere with your configuration process. The control station and diagnostic station are operator interface devices. They provide buttons for start, stop, control, and reset commands. The buttons and corresponding LEDs are controlled via the user selectable operating mode, which is embedded in the device Logix program. The operating mode requires no additional ladder logic and a Logix controller. So you just simply add the E300 to the Logix project, select the appropriate operating mode, use the output tags. They're in this red box down here. To control the motor remotely with the Logix controller. The E300 has the native dual port Ethernet IP communication module. So that does allow us to add the E300 into a star network, linear network, or a device level ring topology. So the embedded web server. So you pull up the screen, it's got an embedded web server that does support SMTP. So you can have your maintenance guys get an email or a text message when there's some sort of trip or warning event. So DeviceNet is also supported. So it provides modernization path for older E3 products. It can interface with RS networks for DeviceNet. The biggest thing with the DeviceNet is that you have the E3 plus emulation mode. It is a function of the E300 where you can basically trick it into thinking that it is an E3 plus. So it would act just like the old E3 plus did in Logix, so that there's no need for any other training or confusion. You can just make it pretend that it's an E3 plus and keep on doing what you're doing. So different expansion modules. We have additional digital and I/O modules and operator interface accessories to the base E300 system. There's digital expansion modules. There are 3 types. Again, you just select your voltage. So 110, 120, 220, 240, 24 volt DC. And then you can select up to 4. Only 4 in and 2 out. On the universal analog, there's 0 to 10 DC, 0 to 20 milliamp DC, and RTD sensors that are also available. Operator station. like I said, it will do multiple languages, but it fits into a standard 22 millimeter hole. So you can put this down the line a little bit, and you can configure it all just with the operator station. Or it's got like the local remote handoff. You can program that to do the function. The E300 provides lots of useful diagnostic information to help users proactively prevent or minimize unplanned downtime for critical motor applications. The E300 continuously monitors and provides real-time motor power information. Users can historically collect and plot this information with a historical data collection system, so like an historian, to see if there are any trends going on for poor motor performance. So some popular ones are L1, L2, L3 average current, L1, L2, L3 average line voltage, ground fault current, power factors, energy, even energy demand. To really kind of give you a sense of what's all going on with your motor. The E300 continuously monitors and provides motor performance information. Users can monitor this information with a SCADA system to provide alarms and indicate to machine operators for motor performance. So there's lots of useful information when the E300 trips. It has a warning event. Trip or warning status words provide real-time information for the reason of the trip or warning event, which can be displayed in the SCADA system, such as like back on top of view. The information can be used by the maintenance personnel to help troubleshoot the motor issue. Up to 5 trip and warning events are logged into the trip and warning histories, which are stored in non-volatile memory. The E300 was designed to be modular, so that reduces the number of SKUs, makes it easy to install, and reduce wiring needed for 3 component combination starters. So the 3 main modules are easy to install and secure. There's just these little tabs that you push them in and lock them down. You put any communication module on the top, and all modules have removable terminal blocks for control wiring. So you can remove the terminal blocks, replace the module should it go bad, and then snap back in the E300 can be applied to 3 different types of 3-piece motor starters. So we can do DIN rail, panel mount. There's IEC combination starters and NEMA starters. So the E300 did replace the E3 Plus. Migration should be complete on that. Here are just some of the dimensional comparisons. As you see, the width and the height are about the same. The main difference is going to be the depth due to the communication module. It is a little bit deeper than the old E3 Plus. An important thing to note when you're dealing with an E3 Plus in a motor control center, the NEMA 1 space factor buckets, due to the increase of depth, the clearance between the face of the E300 to the bore is too close. It's still recommended at this time to replace the bucket with a new bucket containing an E300 as a try to retrofit the bucket to fit an E300. There's a lot of rewiring that will be necessary, and it's more cost effective just to get a new bucket. We are still kind of working on that to see if there's any sort of workaround, but as of now, it's still recommended to purchase a new unit. There is a migration publication out on the web. It's down here in the corner. But if you just go to rockwell.com, you can easily find it. If you go into the E300 page, it's right there. It's a good little document, kind of does a lot of cross references, tells you what's different, any sort of notes that are associated with that. If you need CTs, it'll pick out the CTs for you. So it's a really useful little sheet. There's all sorts of supporting information online as well, technical data, user manuals, some videos on YouTube. If you're ever curious, the Rockwell Automation channel on YouTube has a lot of videos for the E300. Either putting it into emulation mode if you need a demonstration on that. All kinds of videos on putting it together, programming it, anything you need pretty much on there. There is more supporting information, and all this is available through the knowledge base